Alright, I recently posted a new playlist. That should keep my fanbase satisfied while I make the stuff I want to make. Persona is one of my favorite game franchises right now. It is an incredible mesh of SMT franchises JRPG style, while also adding life sim mechanics that makes the series overall unique. And not just that, Persona also has many spin-offs dealing with other game genres as well, whether it be rhythm games, fighting games, crossover games. Basically there's a ton of Persona games. I actually have had two video ideas regarding the Persona series, and one of them is ranking the title screen of every game. While the opening cinematics are what people talk about in regards to getting pumped to play the games, I, however, am a title screen appreciator. There's nothing like seeing a cool looking screen of a game's characters and setting just as you boot up the game, and Persona has got some pretty great title screens throughout its games. With the recent release of Persona 5 Tactica and the rapidly approaching release of Persona 3 Reload, I have decided to rank all 23 title screens seen in the Persona series and see which ones are best. This ranking will be subjective and be based on how much I enjoyed the title screen, whether I liked how it ties into the game's themes or just how visually stimulating I find them to be. I had made a draft of the ranking about 2 months ago, and some of my opinions from that original draft have changed, either due to little details I've discovered or just me thinking about the screens more in depth. That's enough of me rambling. Let's go. Edit on that intro. At the time I started writing the script, Persona 3 Reload was like 2 weeks away from release, so I wasn't going to include it in this ranking. It has now been released, and I'm now going to include its title screen in the ranking, so expect that. Out of all the title screens in the series, I feel the original PS1 releases of the Persona 2 duology have the least to say about the games they're based on. I don't even have much to say about them except for maybe I like Eternal Punishment's title screen a bit more than Innocent Sins. Again, I like this one a little more than Innocent Sins' original PS1 title screen. And I guess that's mainly because it directly transitions from the opening, and it has that fire animation, which is nice, I guess. Would you guys believe me if I said this was originally in the number 9 spot of the original draft? Yeah, this one is pretty weak. It doesn't feel like Persona 1 in any way and feels more like your usual visual novel. I do like the music, despite it also not fitting Persona 1 in any way, which is probably why I ranked it as high as I did in the original draft, as well as some reason I probably forgot about.
Persona 4, Dancing All Night.
Behold, the original last place spot from the original draft. I had originally ranked this one in last place for the simple reason of it being mostly a static image of the logo with barely audible music playing in the background. However, I did notice a little detail in my recent rewatch that places this one above the other three. The intro of a different character shouting the game's title every time you boot up the game. I think that's cute. Also, yes, I do know about the screen that plays after you press start, and I think that screen's great. But I'm not ranking that, I'm ranking this.
Persona 5, Dancing in Starlight.
I'm ranking this one above the last one because I can hear the music clearly now, and it's slightly more visually stimulating. An improvement from Persona 4 Dancing. That's about all I have to say for this one.
Persona 4 Arena!
Persona 4 Arena's title screen is cool. I don't really have anything to say about it. It gets the job done for setting the tone for a fighting game. Moving on. While I slightly like the music to Vanellope for Arena more, I think the feel of this one goes harder. I also don't have much to say about this one. Oh look, another screen I don't have much to say about. It's pretty good. I can't find the full version anywhere on YouTube, which I guess contributes to my lack of words on it. My only problem with it is that it's a little too Persona 5 for a Persona Q game. Comparing it to the first game where it represented both 3 and 4, overall an alright tile screen. Is it bad that I actually like the Revelations Persona tile screen? Yes? Oh well, I just think its vampire vibes are pretty neat, and unlike the PSP tile screen, it actually fits with the vibes of Persona 1. That's it, that's all I really have to say about it. Moving on. I noticed quite a few people having a problem with the Persona 4 Golden title screen, saying they liked the character silhouettes standing in the hallway rather than the character silhouettes running across the screen. And while I do too, my bigger problem with the title screen is that they could have used a different music track. Don't get me wrong, I love A Corner of Memories, but it's not an outright bad song choice for this title screen, but something more upbeat fitting with the upbeat vibe of Golden would have fit slightly more. With that said, it's still a great tile screen and it's only going to get better from here.
Persona 3, Dancing in Moonlight.
So spoilers for this chunk of the ranking, but in my original draft I had lumped all the Persona 3 tile screens into this one block, because quality-wise, they're only slightly different from each other despite all of them being very different from each other style-wise. And my opinions on the Persona 3 area of title screens have not changed since that original draft. Alright, enough rambling, let's continue. Objectively the best of the dancing game title screens. It's just so funky and bopping and it makes you want to groove. It may be weird for a Persona 3 game to feel this happy, but who cares? This is what a title screen for a Persona dancing game should look like. Persona 3 Reload continues the modern Persona title screen trend of silhouettes of the characters standing around, which I think really fits with the whole remake thing. And while I agree that with the complaints that there should be some sort of music in the background, even a reuse of brand new days would be fine. I don't mind the ambience that was used instead. I admit it does fit with the nature of Persona 3. Also, for spoiler reasons, I cannot talk about the New Game Plus title screen. Just know that it will hurt you. While I would have picked different music for portable instead of just brand new days like FES, that's just sort of a nitpick. The moon gliding in the background, the melancholic look on Makoto's face, the transition into Femsi, just a beautiful tile screen. Instead of having the melancholic and bittersweet vibes of the other Persona 3 games, the original Persona 3 title screen is tense and immediately establishes the high stakes that this game has. I also love the air of mystery emanated from Makoto's sprite. The feeling of, who is this guy and what's his story, to be exact. To those who know Persona 3's story, FES's title screen is basically a bittersweet welcome back to newcomers. It's an introduction to this very emotional story. The inclusion of Aigis only amplifies this, considering how FES gives Aigis a more important role to the story with the inclusion of the answer. The definite best of the Persona 3 area of title screens. This one is much simpler than the other Persona 5 title screens, but it's still a banger. You can tell that the show is on the road with the general feel of this one. It sucks that I have nothing to say about it, but whatever, it still slaps. If you want to get hyped to see the Persona 3 and 4 casts go on an adventure together, Persona Q's title screen is the title screen for you. It's memorizing to see you and Makoto cross paths, and afterwards seeing Rei and Zen looking out on the school rooftop. It really gets you interested in the story ahead. The difference between this and the original Persona 2 title screens is insane. These are somewhat interesting and lets you know what to expect with these games. The intense song associated with the screen lets you know that shit here is serious while also being accompanied with a picture of Mai looking serious. Great title screen overall.
Let's start the mission, Joker.
Let's go!
Okay,
Roger that.
here I come.
Let's do this!
It's my Leave it to me.
Persona 5, Tactica.
The main reason for this being as high up as it is the opening transition. The way that it transitions directly from the opening to seeing each of the Phantom Thieves drop into action, that just looks so cool, while the actual screen is what you expect from a Persona 5 game. I mean, it's never not worked for these games, right? Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the title screen that started the whole trend of the character silhouettes standing around. I've seen a lot of people say that this title screen makes them feel nostalgic, and I can see why. Even though I never grew up with this game and was only first introduced to the series when I got Persona 5 for Christmas of 2020, I definitely see the feeling of nostalgia when I look at Persona 4's title screen. It's like I'm being transported to a time in the past, a time when things were much simpler. Easily one of my all-time favorite title screens in this series. The PSP title screen for Persona 2 Winter Citizen gives off an immense feeling of tragedy. From the music to the picture of Tatsuya, it's very fitting for what is an incredibly tragic story. And seeing the golden butterfly symbolizing an important character in the series that I'm not going to spoil is just a cherry on top to this amazing title screen. I may be a little biased considering Persona 5 was my first Persona game, but you cannot disagree that the original Persona 5 title screen is top 3 material. It perfects the character silhouette motif that we first saw in Persona 4 by having each of the characters standing, sitting, or leaning in different poses that all fit incredibly well with their personalities. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you go to select different options in the menu, the camera switches angles, focusing on a specific group of characters, with some even moving if you go to these options. I consider this one of my favorite title screens in all of gaming, but there's still one more I need to get to. Persona 5 Royal's title screen perfectly represents what Persona 5 Royal is as a whole. It's Persona 5, but on a much bigger scale than before. The screen no longer takes place within an underground subway, but now it takes place within a city, putting emphasis on what I said before with Royal being Persona 5 on a much bigger scale. This title screen just oozes with style, with that transition of Joker swinging in to the general feeling of the game welcoming you back. This title screen took the Persona 5 title screen and perfected it to all belief. I can easily consider this my all-time favorite title screen in all of Persona. Okay, I don't know how to transition into this, but I'm developing my own game now. It's a visual novel called Reverse, and I took some inspiration from Persona when working on it, such as the RPG style and another more Persona-inspired element that's not in the game yet but will come in the next update. It's free and I'll put a link in the description for you to play. But please, for the love of bubbles, don't download it if you're under 18 though. This is an NSFW game for adults. Anyways, bye!